Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Now, I'm going to do this short segment on a pastor that has actually come forth and made some revelations, made some confessions. And this one pastor being Creflo Dollar. I'm going to give you exactly what this amounts to. Here's what this amounts to. This man has come forth and he has said straight that he's made some errors in teaching the tithe, and his past teachings are no longer valid, and he has made a complete turnaround on the tithe or tithing. First of all, to those of you who I have encouraged to teach, continue to learn this law, stand up and teach it and live it. For it's by the righteousness of the righteous are the wicked exposed. Someone brought this information to him to let him know that he was incorrect and what he's teaching is wrong. So he has this revelation. Okay, now this is incorrect. First thing is, where did you get this information from? You only know what tithing is and how a tithe is given and where it's given and by whom, who accepts this tithe, who gives this tithe, when is this tithe given, and where is it given? Because the Most High stated that there was only one place that he chose to lay his name, and we were instructed to take our tithe to one place that the Most High chose. You can't find this information no place else but in the books of the prophets. This is what I mean when I speak of those who are of a forward mouth. All of these pastors are idolaters. They are forward in their speech, forward at the mouth. And I've just done a lesson on that not too long ago. They don't mind telling you, look, I've made an error in teaching the tithe or tithing. What they're not going to do is say, you know what, I've made a mistake. I've taught you this in error. Let me give you your money back. They won't do that. This man is not a Levite. This man does not have his beard upon his face. This man does not teach the house of Israel that this church and this dome that he has built is nothing but an eminent high place. This man, the only way he could know that his tithing was incorrect, he would have had to gone into the books of the prophets, of the law and the prophets, to find out clearly who gets the tithe, when it's given, where it's given, and tithe has never, ever been money. Now, I have done 2 lessons, part 1 and part 2, pertaining to tithe and tithing. It's on, if you click on this channel, on the video portion of it, there's like 175 videos there, I believe, and 2 of them specifically addresses tithe. This man is not a Levite. That's 1. Has never touched or seen the holy things. That's 2. The Most High doesn't have a temple in North America, South America, or anywhere else. That's 3. This man has collected monies from people. That money was collected to maintain the repairs of the temple, if any money was ever collected. There's no temple to repair. He has no need to collect money from the people. He is leading the people astray, causing them to serve an image, causing them to come into an eminent high place, causing them to worship after someone that the Most High have never instructed us to worship or to follow. So he is an idolater from top to bottom. But if you're going to go all the way. Go ahead and tell the people that you've caused them to serve idols. Go ahead and tell the people that dome that you have built is nothing but an eminent high place. Go ahead and tell the people that Christianity, these 4 gospels that you teach so much. You see, when someone has committed a crime, let's say 4 individuals committed a crime: Luke, John, Mark, Matthew, and whoever else, Timmy, Harry, and Louis. These are all Europeans, books of the Roman Catholic Church. You see, when you put them in 4 different rooms, what you're going to get is 4 different stories. Why? Because they're all lying. And that's why none of these gospels from these apostles ever line up. They're all lies. But these men have been living on ill-gotten gains. And what they're not going to do, they're not going to give this money up. So what's going to happen is going to be like in the days of old. We're going to get these pastors. It's just a matter of time. Just like you could not have imagined 15, 20 years ago that a man would put on a skirt and a dress and demand to be called a woman. You could have never fathomed that 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. You may not be able to fathom the fact that as we turn to the Most High with our whole heart and our whole soul, and we turn to his laws, and by way of his law, by way of his truth, are we able to expose the lies and the wickedness of our enemies. And many of our enemies are those who look like us, including your Creflo Dollar types. These men have a forward mouth, double tongue. Yeah, I made a mistake, caused you to give me some money, but I'm not going to give you the money back. They will tell you, oh, there is no law, but then they're going to turn around and tell you in the same sentence, but there's a judgment day. This is the kind of duplicitous, double talk, foolishness that you get out of these men. But they're forward in their speech. And the only way that the house of Israel and those of the nations who are of a contrite spirit that seek the Most High with their whole heart and their whole soul, the only way that they're going to know exactly that what Creflo and his lot and his ilk are doing is nothing but falsehood, is going to take men to stand up of the house of Israel to teach in righteousness, that the righteous or those who seek righteousness may know what righteousness is. And by knowing what the truth is, then it's easy to figure out exactly what the lie is. And so if this man, Creflo, if you're going to do right, you got to do right by the people. You've got to let them know there's but one God, and it is the house of Israel. He is the God of the house of Israel. He's the God of the entire earth. But you're going to have to tell our people that they're the house of Israel. No one's ever died for them. You're going to have to stop telling them that there is no law, because lack of law equals lawlessness. When we look around, there's nothing but law and order in all of the universe. There's no such thing as a lawless creator. Does not exist. So the information that you're getting pertaining to this tithe cannot come nowhere but from the prophets. Not from apostles, from prophets. Real live prophets of the house of Israel. Period. So if you're going to go all the way. You're going to have to turn back from this wickedness. There is no such thing. I hear you speaking of this anointing. And the anointing what? If you're going to use the word anointing, then there's all that comes after that. There's no such thing as no God's anointing. What is that? There is such thing as the Most High's anointed. And there was no such thing as no one anointed man. All of the governors, incorrectly called kings, who are the sons of David, those are all anointed men. From Saul, who was a Benjamite, all the way from David and all of his seed, his sons, who sat on the throne after him. All of those men are anointed men. All of the men of the house of Levi, who are the direct sons of Aaron. All of the priestly tribe, those are all anointed men. There's no such thing as no one anointed person, no one anointed man. So this man has led people astray, and now he's coming forward acknowledging that he has done so. But what you have done and what you are doing is not enough. You've got to come forth and let the people know the whole truth, not the half truth. You're going to have to put this away. You're going to have to put away this idol. You're going to have to come out of that darkness into the light, that the house of Israel may know exactly who they are, who our God is, that we may turn to him with our whole heart and our whole soul. I'm certain that some of you idolatrous pastors with these big mansions and jets and all these things, you've been robbing and stealing from the people. You pity them not. You have fleeced them. And some of you, before it's too late, my suggestion is that you turn back. That you turn back to the book of remembrance. That you may be reminded of exactly who we are. And exactly what our conduct is supposed to be. And that we are not to take hold of the ways of the heathen, their customs, or their idols. But you have encouraged our people to do such a thing. And you have led them astray. and you have stolen from them in the process. So I command you, and I commend you on what you have done, stepping forward and acknowledging to the people that you were wrong. But you are wrong about everything that you have done. And the only way you're going to know that you're wrong, you're going to have to look at that which is right. And that which is right can only be found in the books of the law and the prophets. Can't be found in the New Testament. A testament can't get new or can't get old and can't get different. I've said this 1,000 times. So the name New Testament alone tells us it's a lie. And you will see the failures of these pastors. You will see the failures of these churches. And you will see all of these European nations crumble as the Most High takes all of these curses that he has placed on the children of Israel and he puts them on our enemies before our very face. And we will watch them scream for their idols. And we will see clearly that their idols will not deliver them, as that idol has not delivered us. And then it will dawn upon us why we have not been able to escape our plight. We have been calling on falsehood. So at this point, our only protection is the Most High. He has always been our protection. He has always been our Redeemer. There is none else. He made this clear. So when the Most High said, there is none else, there is none besides me, I know no other God but me, who can you compare me to? There's no one like me. How do you get JC out of this mess? You can't bring JC out of any of the Most High's words. He said clearly, he is one. There's none besides him. And then some other people decided to say something that's contrary to the Most High's word. And somehow the children of Israel fell for it. Fell for this mess, this trap, this snare. And this is why we are in such a mess. Creflo stepping forward is a good thing. Maybe it will encourage some of these pastors, these reverends, these idolaters as a whole to come forward and say that we have been incorrect. And we will make a 180. And we will teach the law, for the law is valid. For there is no such thing as a lawless creator. But once again, these men are duplicitous. These men are in the dark. These men have led the house of Israel astray. And it has been profitable for them. However, all that they have taught is profitable for nothing. For the Most High will destroy them. Not only that, he will destroy those of you who follow them. Imagine a man coming before you and he tells you there is no law. And then that man says in the same breath that there is a judgment day. And you have never thought to yourself how duplicitous and silly that really is. That's because no one has ever taught you how to think. No one's ever taught you to go into these scrolls and read it for yourself and to take the actual golden standard, which is the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts, and put it up against these idolaters such as Creflo Dollar and the rest of them. And when you take the Most High's laws, statutes, judgments, and precepts and put it up against these wolves in sheep's clothing who have done nothing but fleece the people, then you understand they owe to all these pastors, laymen, reverends, etc. These people will come for you. They will know that what you're teaching is falsehood. They will know that you have led them astray. How will they know? We will teach them. And it will be like the days of old, and your lives will be on the line. So make sure you make the right choice, for we will stand up and teach this law in righteousness and in truth, and we will be protected. And now you've got to ask yourself, will the idol that you serve, will that protect you when the Most High brings your fear upon your own head and bring your ways upon your own head? We have seen clearly for the past several hundred years in all of the nations of our captivity that we have called upon this thing, this accursed thing that many of us having our houses, wear upon our necks, having our cars, and it has not delivered us. All the weapons that has been formed against our people in captivity throughout the earth, it has all prospered. From the jail cells to the rope, to the gun, to the poison, and everything else that you can think of, it has worked against our people. Why has it worked? for our people have taken a hold of vanity. Now, as we turn towards the Most High with our whole heart and our whole soul, then what will happen is the Most High will start to fight on our behalf. We can go up against anyone when we have the Most High before us. But when we decide to put JC before us or anyone else, we're losing. And we're losing everywhere. Everywhere we're going to lose. But once we put the Most High before us and we begin to walk in truth and righteousness, then everything changes for us. For it is the Most High Spirit that is upon our enemies. So, if you're one of these followers of these Christian pastors, and you're calling yourself a Christian, you're in error. All the nations of the earth are called after their progenitors. There's a patriarch of that family, and those family members, his lineage is called after his name. This Christ figure never had any children. So you calling yourself a Christian is just plain old silly. And like I have said in videos in times past, the Christian nations have murdered and slaughtered and enslaved us all over the earth. When you decide to call yourself a Christian, you are simply stating that you are in alignment and in agreement with those who have murdered and slaughtered your people and continue to do it before your face today. So you cannot be mad when you see them murdering our sons in the street. You have already given your go-ahead for all that you're seeing, for you are stating that you are in allegiance with your enemies. So why are you so shocked when you see your enemies doing what they have always done? And somehow you expect something different. So stop calling yourselves Christians you have never been. They remind you of this every day. Some of you are seeing all of these calamities in your very face, but you fail to realize what it is you're looking at. What you're looking at is the manifestations of all the words that has been presented to us in the days of old. But the only way for you to understand that this is true, you will have to see it. Not only that, you're going to have to feel it. So do understand that this old I'm going to die and go to heaven trick is nothing but a trick. It's nonsense. This old nonsense about, okay, they're going to get theirs when they die. When they die, they're going to be in judgment. No. Your judgment is brought to you when you are alive and well. A dead man knows nothing. A dead man feels nothing. And a dead man can't see nothing. So a witness sees, which means you have to be alive, which means you're going to have to feel the brunt of this blow to know the Most High is not playing with you. He's not playing with me. He's not playing with us. And maybe after you've seen this for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of them just killing us wholesale, maybe you will rethink your position. Maybe you will reconsider. Maybe you will go into this book and hearken unto the words of the Most High. When he addressed us in this book, it wasn't "Hear, whole world. Hear, O Israel." He was speaking directly to a specific group of people. Somehow you've allowed strangers to come along and supplant the Most High. And you've allowed strangers to come along and supplant your position. All of a sudden, it's everybody. It's not anything specific. All of the words of the Most High that was presented and given to us via his prophets was directly given to the children of Israel. It was not given to everyone. That is why you will not find no European coming on here speaking like I'm speaking to you. He can't do it. It is not his job to do. He cannot give you righteousness. It was never given to him. We are to teach him. We are to teach them. And there are many of the other nations who have this same hue, who look just like me. They don't know righteousness either. And so we will teach them also. So we've got a job to do. We are to determine who is serving the Most High, who is serving him not. Book of Malachi will make that plain. So when you see a man coming and telling you that, I was wrong on tithing. Well, of course you were wrong on tithing. Not only that, you were wrong on everything that you've been teaching. Now, after you have understood this, now will you make the correction? You have taken these people's money. Will you give it back? So that's not the only thing that you've been wrong about. And the only way you're going to learn about tithing, you have to go to the book of the prophets to learn that. That's the only way. And that's the only book that matters, Genesis to Malachi. So Creflo is growing. He is growing. He has made a commendable step. So I commend him for that. Don't get off the hook, but that's a step in the right direction. Now come forth and teach these people this law and let them know that this law is forever. And this law is what binds us to the Most High. And this law is what gets us out of this mess. And that you're not to be taking money from these people. For you are not a Levite. And where you stand is not the house of the Creator. Period. You do not wear the holy garments at all. No one's ever poured anointing oil on you anywhere. These are the things that you need to tell the people. So it's on you. You have been shown the light. Now, question is, will you return back onto the dark? Peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Watch these men. Take the standard, which is nothing but the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts. Put it up against these idolaters. Put it up against anyone. Put it up against yourself. That way you may know exactly how you should conduct yourself, what is expected of you, and that you may know, should you go against the grain, exactly what you are to expect as far as the punishments. And should you walk lockstep with the Most High and be in obedience to his law, then you will be aware of exactly what protections as well as benefits that you may gain from doing that which is right in the sight of the Most High. And that goes out both to the Israelite as well as the non-Israelite. There are many men out here that's using this thing for money. They use this book to teach for financial gain. If not that, they're using their position to run through women, married and unmarried. And some of these men are so nasty, they're actually homosexuals. Some of them are so nasty, they're actually pedophiles. So there is a disgusting bunch out here. But this behavior is no different from the mother church. All the Christian churches are nothing but spin-offs of Roman Catholicism. All of these behaviors are that of the Roman Catholic Church. The stealing, the lying, the pedophilia, the adultery, the murder, and everything else that comes with it, the lies. And what I would say, the perverting of the Most High's law, statutes, judgments, and precepts, taking the Most High's words and twisting it. If you think that Paul, Matthew, Luke, or any of these other Europeans from the Roman Catholic Church can actually, when the Most High says something, if you think one of these men can actually come behind the Most High and supplant his words and overstep and make the Most High's words void, then you clearly have no idea what this book says, what it states, and how you are to relate to it. No one trumps the words of the Most High. That is why he is the Most High. He's higher than everyone else. So do not let your enemies prop up some falsehood before you, and all of a sudden, the Most High and his prophets are of no effect. You're not listening to some Roman Catholics who've been murdering you for centuries. This makes absolutely no sense. This is where we must reconsider our position. However, when people are in a state of or have achieved a level of success, the Creator is not on their minds. Most people, when they're sick, when they're down on their luck, when things are extremely bad, all of a sudden they want to cry out to the Most High. So what the Most High is going to have to do is going to have to make things extremely bad for you. Because that's the only time that you actually will consider your ways and your doings and turn to him. Most of you, it's entirely too late for you to do that. But for some of you, seek the Most High while he yet may be found. For there will come a time when these videos will not be accessible to you. And things are going to change throughout the earth. And those of you who are walking in righteousness, you're going to reap the rewards of that. And those of you who are walking in wickedness, hardship, and ultimately your death. This is really simple. Once again, peace, Israel, and Yah bless. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Watch these men of a froward mouth, of double tongue and double speech. There is no law, but yet there's a judgment day, and all this other nonsense. Peace, and y'all bless.